Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Journey to Greatness, day 208 of 365. Oops. $17. All right. Good morning. Good morning, Liz. All right, my friends. Going to get into our meditation routine. I will see you guys on the other side. Yes, I know. We got to read our mantra, but we'll do that. We'll do that at the end. All right, welcome back. Karen, long time no talk. Good morning. Good morning. Auntie, good morning. All right, we're going to get into our reading routine. Eckhart Tolle, New Earth. This is what I'm currently reading. I will see you guys on the other side. All righty, welcome back. So we just finished our reading routine. And now we're going to get into our journaling routine. Okay, so in our journaling routine, I usually like to start off by writing about the things I'm most grateful for. And in the morning, that is waking up and being in exceptional health, or excuse me, being in perfect health. So then I go to yesterday's activities and show my respects for the gifts and the blessings I was able to experience, whether that be, just being able to drive around, simple things or extravagant things. And then going forward, anything I wish to project for myself, manifest, create, I write all of those things down in my book. So in my journal. So it's a perfect way to get ideas out of your head. If there's things that are bothering you or worrying you, if you want to create a different reality for them, it's a good idea to get that down on paper also. So just keep track of everything, really. So with that being said, if you have any questions, let me know. But I'll see you on the other side. And good morning. Good morning, Annie. Good morning. Good morning, Jace. How's it going, brother? All right, my friends, welcome back. I like this journal. It's really cool. It's a little bit bigger than all the other ones, but it feels nice to write in. It's really smooth. It's really nice. Anyway, so jumping into our book. So we're going to jump into some concepts that we've been talking about for a long time. Like, for example, identification with body. Eckhart starting to get into pretty much inner awareness and physical awareness and spiritual awareness and identifying what the differences is between them. So identification with the body. Apart from objects, another basic form of identification is with my body. Firstly, the body is male or female. And so the sense of being a man or a woman takes up significant part of people's sense of self. Gender becomes identity. Identification with gender is encouraged at an early age, and it forces you into a role, into conditional patterns or behaviors that affect all aspects of your life, not just sexuality. It is a role many people completely are trapped in, even more so in some of the more traditional societies in Western culture, where identification with gender is beginning to lessen somewhat. So, life fulfillment is perceived to be fulfillment of one's gender identity. In the West, it is the physical appearance of body that contributes greatly to the sense of who you think you are, its strength or weakness, its perceived beauty or ugliness relative to others. Many feel many feel a diminished sense of self-worth because they perceive their body as imperfect or ugly. So that's kind of a no-brainer. What was this book written? This book was written in 2005, right? And I think we were still like really into the health and fitness scene. People all across the nation, I mean, just go to Instagram. It's really popular there. I mean, even on Facebook, everybody's taking pictures of their bodies. Everybody's taking, pictures of their bodies, right? And that's like the primary focus. If you have a really nice body, then there's a strong chance that you can get lost in your physical self and have identification with your body. Is that good? Well, should you love your body? Absolutely, no question about it at all. But at the same time, if you are, let's say, a little bit more heavy set and you don't have a six pack, there's a line or there's a median of you still loving yourself internally, and then obviously loving your physical as you show up. And then Eckhart goes into saying, who is the woman that is 110 pounds and she's looking at herself saying that she's fat because of societal pressures. So she goes to 90 and she becomes anorexic, right? Or, to the person who may be bulimic, if they don't have any connection with their body, in terms of they're listening to their thoughts, listen to their minds. Their minds are telling them that they're hungry. Their bodies are full, so they go to the bathroom and they throw up, right? So identification with the body is important, but I think over-identification or finding all of your identity in how your body is might be a little bit dangerous. And if you don't have a perfect body, for you to diminish your self-worth is a little bit saddening, because then you don't allow people to, first off, you don't get to shine to people. You don't get to shine to the world who you really are. Your body doesn't. It defines a lot. It defines you in a lot of spaces in terms of people may pass judgment, but that's with anything. If I walk into a room and I have a suit on in a business meeting, right? that's going to define me as a professional. If I come in with jeans and Timberland boots and everybody else is wearing suits, that still would define me as a professional for showing up. However, they may perceive or judge me a certain way. Point. As people have become more and more mind identified, which is the intensification of egoic dysfunction, there has also been a dramatic increase in the incidences of anorexia in recent decades. If the sufferer could look at her body without the interfering judgments of her mind, or even recognize those judgments for what they are instead of believing in them, or better still, if she could feel her body from within, this would initiate her healing. So to the young gal or young boy who is anorexic, the book is suggesting that rather than them listening to their mind, looking in the mirror and saying, "Oh, I'm fat," or allowing societal pressures to make them think, "Oh, well, I'm not worth it. I don't have, I'm not what I'm supposed to be," rather than listening to internally how they're showing up for themselves, listening internally who they are, their inner self, then that would, if they were to do that, they would start the process of self-healing, right? And starting to correct what the mind is trying to tell you as a person, right? While the mind is trying to identify or tell you who you are, when you start searching inside rather than listening to your mind, you start getting to the truth about who you are. Those who are identified with their good looks, physical strength, or abilities experience suffering when those attributes begin to fade and disappear, as of course they will. Our body's going to get wrinkly, our face is going to get saggy, and that's okay. But for those who find 100% of their identity in their physical space, imagine you're in a freak accident, your arm gets chopped off, right? It's kind of like the same way, like why the book suggests that we shouldn't be attached to money. Let's say a freak accident happens and the whole market crashes and you lose everything. What are you going to do? When your identity is deeply rooted into money, right? You lose your identity, which pushes you over the edge potentially. Same thing with your body. So, again, it's about checks and balances. So, their very identity that was based on them is then threatened with collapse when the body grows old. In either case, ugly or beautiful people derive a significant part of their identity, be it negative or positive, from their body. To be more precise, they derive their identity from the I thought that they erroneously attach to the mental image or concept of their body, which after all is no more than a physical form that shares the destiny of all forms, impermanence and ultimately decay. So to be attached to money that doesn't even, which is just simply paper, art printed on paper, is very interesting, and is not highly suggested, right? The money doesn't make you, you make the money. And so when you show up, whether you have $1 million in your account and you're waiting on it, or if you're waiting for it to show up in your account and you carry yourself as a millionaire, the money doesn't make you. So same thing with your body. Just because you have a healthy body, that doesn't make you better than anybody else. It's important to be confident in your body. I think, for me, I like to stay around a certain weight. I've been on the body thing a lot lately because the body, for me, in terms of image, I want to have a lean and mean body, like I sit at 250 on a regular, and like, I'm cool. Like, I'm happy with that. Right. But at the same time, it's like, I want to try and extremely, not really extremely, but I want to challenge myself, to drop weight healthy, in a healthy way, but then maintain that weight and just be lean, right? So it'll help me with my type of workouts that I'm doing. and then ultimately I'll progress and transcend as I get more and more connected with self. And so for me, it's more like a mental, it's a mental thing, because there's so many components that are moving when it comes to like understanding how to lose weight efficiently, and health and in a healthy way, because you have to focus on nutrition, you have to focus on workout, you have to focus on mindset. And so pretty much everything that we're doing during these morning activities, they get applied to the workout regimen also. And then, so is history. So it's okay to find identity in your body. Be confident. When you work out and you're healthy, you feel better. I mean, I feel better. If it is strong, beautiful, or vigorous, you can enjoy and appreciate those attributes while they last. We only have one body during this lifetime. So instead of treating it bad, the encouragement or the support here would to be treat it good and actually use it. Go out and use it while we're still able to. We're never too old to use our bodies, and we can always get back into the routine of using our bodies. So while it's still functional, while we can still move our legs back and forth, jump up and down and skip rope and do all these things, go out and enjoy your body, and I think that's a totally different perspective. If you don't equate the body with who you are, when beauty fades, vigor diminishes, or the body becomes incapacitated, this will not affect your sense of self-worth or identity in any way. Now, in fact, as the body begins to weaken the formless dimension, the light of consciousness can shine more easily through the fading form. That's very interesting. Now, here's the big kicker. You guys ready for this? This is the big kicker. So it is not just people with a good or near perfect bodies who are likely to equate it with who they are. You can just as easily identify with a problematic body and make the body's imperfection, illness, or disability into your identity. You may think and speak yourself as a sufferer of this or that chronic illness or disability. You receive a great deal of attention from doctors and others who constantly confirm to you your conceptual identity as a sufferer or a patient. So just as easy as it is to be obsessed with your body and to be in love with your body, right? And you being appreciative of the work, the art that you put in, the time that you put in. Just as easy as it is to take the identity for the ego to grab onto an identity of unhealthy or a problematic body. And so now you get labeled as a sufferer. When you become a sufferer, for better or for worse, then that's now your conceptual idea of yourself, which then promotes disease. And then the ego, creates hell on earth, Stalin, Nazism, and, Hitler. So within your body, right? Hell on earth. And that's what Eckhart, mentions earlier in the book. So it becomes another thought form with which the ego can identify with, right? Amazingly, but not infrequently, the ego, in search of a stronger identity, and does create illness in order to strengthen itself through them. So the ego, again, if not used correctly, can definitely destroy you. Or not checked correctly, can definitely destroy you. So, did I miss a part? We'll get to that. Okay, so now it comes to feeling the inner body. So here's one of the unspoken truths that we're getting ready to see, that actually affirms, again, what we are doing here every single morning is actually what we should be doing from this context, from the context of knowing who we are and identifying our highest purpose. No matter what your body's appearance is on the outer level, beyond the outer form is an intensely alive energy field. If you are not familiar with inner body awareness, close your eyes for a moment and find out if there is life in your hands. Feel free to walk through this or do it while I'm talking, reading. Probably it will also say, give me something more interesting to think about. Oh, excuse me. It says, close your eyes. If you are not familiar with inner body awareness, close your eyes for a moment and find out if there's life in your hands. Don't ask your mind. It will say, I can't feel anything. Probably it will also say, give me something more interesting to think about. So instead of asking your mind, go to the hands directly. By this, I mean become aware of the subtle feeling of aliveness inside of them. It is there. You just have to go there with your attention to notice it. You may get a slight tingling sensation at first, then a feeling of energy or aliveness. If you hold your attention in your hands for a while, the sense of aliveness will intensify. So, the flower, seeing it and identifying and saying and making the conscious decision to pay attention to the flower rather than the concrete or the journey or the mission that you're on to get to where you need to be. Stop and smell the roses because they smell really good. Same thing with your body. Stop and take time to identify what is going on in your body. The reason why we meditate every morning, or the reason why we find this time to do this every morning, or at least one of the reasons, is because it allows us to stop the daily grind. It allows us to stop the mental stress of the day. You know, this is the time to be free. If you have bills that you have to pay and you're stressed about them, come to the journey to greatness, sit down, relinquish your mind, get all the ideas down on paper, create a plan for yourself, be in control, take responsibility. And I think that comes with inner body awareness, which ultimately leads to enlightenment. And then the book suggests go to your feet, keep your attention there for a minute or so, and begin to feel your hands and feet at the same time. Then incorporate other body parts of the body, legs, arms, chest, abdomen, into that feeling until you are aware of the inner body and the global sense of aliveness. What I call the inner body isn't really the body anymore, but life energy, the bridge between form and formlessness. Make it a habit. So that's the kicker right here. Make it a habit to feel the inner body as often as you can. After a while, you won't need to close your eyes anymore to feel it. Every morning when I meditate, I feel the inner body. When you are in touch with your inner body, you are not identified with your body anymore, nor are you identified with your mind. This is to say, you are no longer identified with form, but moving away from form identification to more formlessness, which we may also call being. So he's taking this idea of you live a physical life or you live a spiritual life, right? He's digging deeper into the ice. You know, he's opening up the iceberg. And this isn't the first time he's done this so beautifully. Thank you, Eckhart. I appreciate it. Body awareness not only anchors you in the present moment, it is the doorway out of the prison that is ego. You guys hear me out there? Please tell me somebody is listening. This is awesome. It also strengthens the immune system and the body's ability to heal itself. Tell you, amazing stuff. Forgetfulness of being. Ego is always pause. Let me take a couple steps back. What he's saying, the more in touch we are with our inner body, the less connected we become with our ego, because we get out of our minds and we're not identifying with things like our body or with money. We know our true worth. We know our true value because we're searching. We're looking deep, deep, deep inside. The closer we become to our inner selves, the more powerful creators we all become. The closer we become to God, the better we can yield the universe. We can bend the universe to do whatever it is that we wish to achieve, right? Or whatever we wish to see. Body awareness anchors us in the present moment. So we are therefore grateful, and we therefore are living in gratitude and gratefulness because we are anchored in right now, because we're taking the time to smell the roses. We're taking the time to appreciate that little pain that's coming up in our shoulder. And so now we have to start to heal it. How do we heal it? The closer you become internally to yourself and you have that inner love, then you can start sending that energy to that healing energy to your body, right? And you really, really become identified with it. On a simple note, my nose has been running for like 2 weeks. And I noticed that when I drink cold water, my nose really starts running. And it's because during this time of the season, it could be allergies, although I am in perfect health. So, but let's assume it was allergies for now. But I noticed that my body, as I'm here doing this journey to greatness, and I'm paying attention to, how I'm showing up, my nose starts running significantly when I drink cold water. So, and my throat was really, really itchy for some time, right? And then I said, well, if I'm drinking cold water and it's making my nose run more, then maybe I should start drinking warm water. Oh, and then the warmness of the water or the tea will soothe my throat. And then my throat will probably stop being as itchy. And sure enough, just listening to that simple, and paying attention to what my body was doing, just something so simple. And now like my throat doesn't itch as much and my nose isn't as runny as it was, maybe a week or 2 weeks ago on camera. So again, just being in tune with your body and your inner body, it helps allow you to escape from the ego and ultimately become a more powerful creator and person. Ego is always identification with form, seeking yourself and thereby losing yourself in some form. Forms are not just material objects and physical bodies. More fundamental than the external forms, things, and bodies are the thought forms that continuously arise in the field of consciousness. They are energy formations, finer and less dense than physical matter, but they are forms nonetheless. What you may be aware of as a voice in your head that never stops speaking is the stream of incessant and compulsive thinking. When every thought absorbs your attention completely, when you are so identified with the voice in your head and the emotions that accompany it, that you lose yourself in every thought and every emotion, then you are totally identified with the form and therefore in the grip of the ego. Ego is a conglomeration of recurring thought forms and conditioned mental emotional patterns that are invested with a sense of I, a sense of self. Ego arises when your sense of beingness of I am, which is the formless consciousness, gets mixed up with the form. So what does that even mean, right? Well, what that means is our egos are on the search to be attached to something, whether it be physical identity, whether it be whatever, money, how much money you have, finding your identity in that. The ego can also get attached to thought forms. So if you have someone around you who's, it's always been this way since I was a kid type of thing, that potentially is the ego, attaching onto the thought form that, anything that has to do with thinking and attachment to body in terms of like acting from a physical motivation, is usually associated to some degree or another with ego, because ego is a conglomeration of recurring thought forms and conditioned mental emotional patterns that are invested in the sense of I. So conditional mental patterns is stuff that you may have experienced over a certain amount of time. People have told you you are X, and so then you start to identify yourself as X. And that could be for better or for worse. So you could be a really cool person or a really good person, and people are like, you're a really good person all of the time. And you could get potentially lost in that idea, right? So, or you could be a really bad person, and then you could turn good, right? And then people will say, you are a really bad person, but then you turn good. And so it's like, you are a really bad person. You can get lost in that, right? And you can just always, get beaten down, and your confidence can be low, things like that. And then so now you turn good. And then when you turn good, people are like, oh, you're a really good person now. And then you get lost in that. So it's just really important. I mean, what it keeps coming back to is it's really important to be balanced and just to be aware of, of your inner self. Be aware of your inner self. Be aware of what you're attached to. Be aware of, what you're doing as habit. And again, the more aware we are, the higher we will transcend into the godly and spiritual space of enlightenment. So with that being said, we will end on this note. Feel free to speak after me. This is my life. I am aware. I take responsibility for my reality. Thoughts. I recognize I have the power to manifest the best possible life. A life of wealth, a life of love, and peace. I truly believe I have zero limitations. I trust my instincts, God, and universe. I am ready to transcend. I have arrived, and so it is. Beautiful. So thank you, everybody who jumped on the messenger board with me this morning. Thank you, everybody who's sending energy from behind the camera at their homes today. I appreciate that. And thank you, everybody, for being here on the journey to greatness with me. We're climbing these numbers. That number is going to hit, where are we at? 7. Let me see here. 7 times. Oh, shoot, you guys, we're 2 days away from 7 months. Woo! This is going by so fast. And we got, 4 or 5 months left? Oh, man, we're almost at a year. What do I do with myself? I don't know what to do with myself. Somebody help me. Let me drink my tea. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 5 a.m. Love you. Have a good day.